years?
The teenage years for me was quite hard because growing up, I thought these things would make me happy, going out partying, drinking, girls. When I got to the age of 18, I was absolutely calamitized by money and women and alcohol, power. I used to have a godlike complex. I used to think I was better than people. Honestly, I used to think nothing can touch me. I used to think I had some sort of significance. And it was very, very wrong. I really hated who I was. I used to think these things would make me happy because I couldn't be happy. Nothing made me happy in this world. I was never happy. I could have all the money in the world. I'd have 10 women around me. I'd have a big pile of cash behind me. I'm not happy. Nothing would be happy. Nothing would make me happy, no matter what I'd done. And the older I get, the higher the levels got, and the more I'd get, and the more I wouldn't be happy. So, you know, it got even worse because I thought, if this can't make me happy, nothing's going to make me happy. And I was miserable. I was absolutely miserable. I was lost. I had no guidance. I would drink myself to death on the night. No one's there for me when I was down and out. And no one was truly there for me as a friend. You know, they'd only want me to go down with them. We'll all go down together. And what I used to think was a friend, it was not a friend at all. I know that now.
What was your purpose before Islam and what is it after Islam?
My belief system was that, you know, YOLO, as we call it in the UK. You only live once, so it's live life to the fullest. The problem with that lifestyle is that there is no purpose. And so when there's no purpose, you fall into that kind of existential crisis of basically feeling like there's no reason to live. And I did get to that point a lot in my earlier life, where it's kind of like after the lights have dimmed and after the party stops, then what's the purpose of life? So Islam gave me not only a purpose in the next life of being able to attain long-lasting happiness in Jannah, but also Allah's given me gifts that I can use in this life, my voice being one of them, you know, my interaction with people being another. So I think coming into Islam has given me more than just the ultimate purpose, but a life's purpose as well.
What else happened that attracted you more to Islam?
I remember hearing the Quran for the first time, and it was just so fascinating, so attracted to it, that just, I don't know what it says. I have no clue, right? I don't understand Arabic at that time. But it touched me, you know, the recitation. And I felt when I understood Islam that it was not something new. I felt it was universal. I felt it was a continuation. I didn't feel like I'm changing. I felt like I'm adjusting. Knowing all the prophets, knowing the Old Testament, the New Testament, I felt like Islam was just the last testament. And then finally realizing that Islam is just the continuation of the same message. It makes sense. It's like it was La ilaha illallah, Musa Rasulullah, Isa Rasulullah, Nuh Rasulullah, Ibrahim, and now it's La ilaha Muhammad Rasulullah. Same, you know, there's one constant, which is La ilaha, and there's variables. The prophets changed. It's perfect. It's the only thing that makes sense.
You have been to Umrah many times, but when you went to Umrah for the first time, what was the thing that affected you the most and why?
When I went to Masjid al-Haram, so many people in one area, all races, all colours, every single country, and I knew this was the answer. The people were here for the pilgrimage for Allah. Not like the Vatican, the people were there to see the Pope or Colossus, but it was there for God. These are true pious believers, and it was a cure, an answer for racism. It's world peace. And that was the big moment for me. Islam is a cure for everything. It's an answer to every problem. It's a guide to life. It's a way of life.
Trait of the Prophet ﷺ that impressed you the most?
The Prophet ﷺ would always somehow adapt to the people that he used to talk to. It's an amazing trait that he used to have. His behavior would never be the same with all the people. I mean, he would always be just. But if a child would come to him, he would adjust. If a desert dweller would come to him, like a Bedouin, he would adjust. If an educated people would come to him, he would adjust. He would adjust to everyone. A woman would talk to him, he would adjust. He would always come down to the level of the people. He even change his speech, even change his behavior. Even sometimes people would ask the same question, but knowing their background, he would give them an answer that they need to actually understand, and that would connect and help them achieve the change that they need in their life. I think that's something amazing.
What impressed you the most about Prophet Muhammad ﷺ?
The fact that the Prophet ﷺ was not allowed by Allah to chill out. He wasn't given any time for relaxation. If you study the seerah of the Prophet ﷺ in those 13 years and all the battles that he supervised and the battles that he engaged with and the treaties that he had written or that was given to him from Jibreel, to have written and whatever. If you just look at his life, it was non-stop. And it's just unbelievable how that rate of activity consistently on an individual whose job it was to deliver the message, regulate the people, act as a judge, act as an arbiter, inspire the people, educate the people, be a warrior, a general, a head of state, a husband, a friend. How does he do that? It's because of the wahi. It's because God mandated that.
What were the final steps of your journey to Islam?
I woke up one day and I was at the lowest. And in my mind, I said, what are you waiting for? You know this is the truth. I went to university and I saw my friend Kamal and I said, I need you to come to my house tonight. I said, I need your help with something. So he said, are you okay? I said, you just have to come. So he said, okay, no problem, I'll come. It was in exams. I was studying with some people upstairs in my house and Kamal called me from downstairs. I'm here. I said, okay, I'm going to come down. I went downstairs. It was night. And I just looked at him. I said, he said, what's wrong, bro? Are you okay? I said, I want to be a Muslim. And he said, he said, I knew it. He said, I knew it. I said, what do you mean? He's like, remember that long Taraweeh that we prayed together? He said, in sujood, I was praying all life. This guy is looking for you. Guide him to Islam. Let him embrace Islam. And he just said, repeat after me. I already knew what I have to say. When I said my shahada, I felt that heaviness being lifted from me. Just by saying those words, the way I slept that night was just different.
If you had a chance to speak to all the non-Muslims in the world, what would you like to say if you had just 1 minute?
Oh, you sitting at home now, you have times when you don't know why you're alive. You have times of sadness and loss and grief, and the fun just isn't working the way it used to. You have pain, and maybe sometimes you don't know why you're alive, and you want to ask somebody to help you, but you don't know how to ask, and everything feels like it's strange and unreal. God is one. When you feel like this, look at a rose in the garden and think that it makes scent for us. When you feel like this, look at the bees and just think how amazing that honey is so tasty, and it's also a healing. We give it for sore throats. Just think about how nature is there for us and how beautiful it is that the rain goes into the ground, into the roots of the trees, and then the trees grow a leaf or a flower, and then that flower becomes fruit that we can just eat, and it has goodness for us, and feel the loving and benevolent presence of your Lord.
Be sincere. This is probably the most difficult thing in everything you do. Every book of hadith starts with this hadith, إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ. Every action is according to its intention. Because it is intention, sincerity, ikhlas. As Sufyan al-Thawri rahimahullah said that, مَا وَجَدْتُ شَيْءٍ عَلَيْهِ أَشَدُّ مِنْ نِيَّتِي. I didn't find anything more difficult upon me than my intention. Sincerity. If you're sincere, if you really want God, you want Allah, you will find it. You will find it. So if you're sincere in anything you do in life, I think in the end, the outcome is always going to be positive.
I would tell them there has to be purpose behind the normal kind of daily grind of life. This isn't it. And if you think this is it, then that has to be the saddest conclusion that anyone can come to. Because this life is a roller coaster. It's full of trials, it's full of hardship, it's full of difficulty, it's full of injustice, sadness. So if this is it, then why were we created? I would invite them to think. I would invite them to consider the cycle of life, to take a flower, to look at how that flower grows from a seed and blossoms into something beautiful, and then wilts and dies again. I would invite them just to stand in front of the ocean and to look at the depths of the ocean, and that life exists in the darkness of the ocean. To take a leaf and look at the intricacies of the design of one single leaf, and to ask themselves, where did this come from? Where did this come from? What is the purpose of this leaf? What is the purpose of this flower? What is the purpose of the ocean? And then to think, I too am a part of that creation. So if there is a purpose of a leaf and the purpose of a flower, then what is my purpose? That's what I would ask them.
I would say, as a people, we need to learn how to think. So we get so caught up in living that we don't think much like, what are we living for and why are we living? And sometimes you have to pause life and stop and think. Don't get influenced just by your heritage. It's like, because I'm born in England, the Church of England, I'm going to be a Christian. That means if I was born in Israel, I would have been a Jew. So it's not about what's the truth, it's just about what I inherit. I don't think religion should be an inheritance. We should search for the truth, and we should research.
I would tell all the non-Muslims of the world that you are born Muslim. You are born knowing that there is a higher power. It's the best feeling in the world when you finally revert to who you were when on your first day taking a breath on this earth. When you were Muslim, it's the best to revert to that kind of mindset because it's who you are naturally. We all know that there is an afterlife. We all know that there is a God, and it's through the teachings and people and society that we kind of stray away from that. So I want you to see Islam as not some sort of abstract, different, pushed off to the corner kind of cultural concept, but instead Islam is a universal message for all of mankind. To be Islam, you just have to believe that there is one God and Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, is his last and final messenger. That's all you have to believe.